the third 9mm that I had out at the range was not a semi-auto at all. It was the Ruger LCRx. It's got a 1.87-inch barrel. It's 17.4 ounces. I think it's about 6.4 overall. So it's, it's right in the ballpark in weight and size and things as the Smith & Wesson Shield. Of course, it has much lower capacity as it has 5 rounds, right? And like Ruger's, you push that, and we can show that it's unloaded, right? When you are loading it, you use moon clips. So you can buy more of those. I do have ones with more of those, but it shoots 9mm. The nice thing about that is sometimes with snub nodes, especially with 38s, when you're ejecting them, the shell casing being longer has a tendency, whether it's a Smith & Wesson or another brand, to kind of hang up here sometimes. With these 9mm, with 9mm being so short, it ejects pretty easily, and especially with that. Thing is, though, you have to make sure you carry them. You carry them in those moon clips, and they have to be somewhat protected because they can get bent and things like that. But this does have, it's a single action, double action, because you have a hammer on it. They do make a double action only version of this. It has this nice Hogue Tamer grip, a steel frame, and then it has a polymer housing where they can use that. But cylinder steel, of course, And the nice thing about this is it shoots the same ammo as your semi-auto. So if something, if you needed a backup, and then it has the advantage of being a revolver where close up and personal, you don't have to worry about the gun getting knocked out of battery. But I was carrying it yesterday in my Galco shoulder holster, so that was kind of interesting. I hadn't shot it for a while, but it shoots very well, and it's just another alternative, I think, when you're thinking about 9mm, because you might want to have something like this for either that up close and personal or as kind of a last resort, because, guns like this, a lot of times they can be, people conceal them in pockets, ankles, they might have them as a shoulder holster or in a reverse draw or something like that, just as a backup. So you don't have to worry about, ammo incompatibility with your 9. If something happens with your 9, then, you've got this. So I personally really like this revolver. So that's the third one and the final one that we'll see in the video. In case you're wondering, what if you had to have a backup for your 9? Well, I do. I have a Ruger LCR 9mm that I happen to have in the shoulder harness from Galco, and so let's go ahead and see how it does, plus a reload. I'll do the steel. Obviously I'll only shoot 5 of them, and then I'll shoot the paper, and then if I got any left, I'll finish the steel at about 7 yards. I'm out. Okay. I'm gonna back up. Get back. Get back. back. Get back. Okay, so it took me, I had trouble with the first reload because one of the rounds fell out. This is what things can happen in real life, you know, and you have to make a decision. Do I just put 4 in there and go with it? And then I remembered I have other rounds, so that's what I did. And I tossed the other round in my pocket because obviously throwing it in there might have kind of jammed things up without the little, oh darn, I can't think of the name of the metal keeper things. But anyway, you got to make those kind of decisions, and I had other reloads. So yeah, it took me most of them. I think I got about 3 rounds left, but I was able to deal with the threat in this scenario. So once again, in the end, we were able to deal with all the steel. We got them all. And eventually we got the other target over here too. Not the best shooting, you know. And I had more than a couple of misses here. As you can see, I got this one up here, but I had a couple here and here. I had a miss up here, a miss over here, and a miss over here, obviously. But I got 2 there, and 1 on the outside, and 1 up there. So eventually dealt with what I had to. But you know, you can't tell what may happen in real life, and so you try to deal with things the best you can. And that just gives an example of why maybe having a 9mm, you know, with the moon clips, I couldn't think of it a while ago, with the moon clips, you know, as a revolver, as a backup. The other thing is, if somebody is in real close proximity to you, there's things that revolvers can do. They don't get knocked out of battery and things like that. So just things to think about if you wanted to think about and are allowed to. Depends on what your rules and things are. You always want to be compliant with all those state, federal, local firearms ordinances, rules, permits, so forth. But it could be very helpful to have a revolver as a backup in the same caliber. Notice it was a 9. So just something to think about. One more thing, after going out to the range in 9mm, and I had a little summary I did coming back from that. But once again, I just want to remind everybody to be, you know, remember what Redoubtable always says, you know, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. Bye now.